Hey guys, Zach Draskick here. Just got off the water and I wanted to briefly cover with you guys a forgotten source of cover, and that is shade. Shade is probably the most overlooked cover source for anglers, and a lot of people don't think of it as cover. Let me tell you, bass relate to shade and shade lines just like any other source of cover, and a lot of your cover like docks, grass, ledges, all these things produce shade, and that is a big reason why bass hold on these sources of cover. Not only is that shade a little bit cooler in these summertime months, but that shade gives them a little bit of protection, and it gives them a good ambush opportunity. It makes it to where the bait fish that they're feeding on can't see them as good. And even in the dead of winter, I've seen bass relate to shade lines, but that really comes to play this time of the year when it's hot in the summertime. Man, it was a tough one out there on the water. I was looking at some weighing sheets for today, and I saw a lot of zeros out there. Weights were way down today, but I went out for a quick trip with my son before it got too hot. I thought he only lasted an hour out there, but in that short little time period, I was able to put 3 keepers in the boat. My last trip, I was fishing really deep. I was fishing, as deep as 25 feet. But today I was fishing in 2 to 3 feet of water, fishing shade lines and shallow docks. And I made that decision because there was not a lot of wind, and they weren't pulling much water. So when there's not any kind of water movement, those offshore fish, you kind of suspend, and they can be hard to locate and catch. And I knew, having a kid with me, I didn't have time to locate and play around with those. So I went shallow. It's a good option when they're not moving water for you and there's not much water movement. What I was using is just a little straight tail worm. This is a T-Mac worm. I caught him on a trick worm as well. What's key about this, though, this is a 3/32 ounce head. This is a very light head. When I'm fishing these shade lines and fishing shallow docks in the summertime, I like a real light head. Number one, it skips really good. A lighter head will skip a lot easier than if you're normally using like a 1/4 or 3/16 ounce. That skips good, and that slower fall is really good. A lot of fish under docks and these shade lines can be somewhat suspended, and the water was a little bit dirty, so that slower fall will give the fish a little bit longer to see the bait and attack it. And shade lines, I talked docks today, but man, shade can be created by anything, either above or below the water. Now, one reason I caught a couple of my fish today was because I didn't just fish the dock. There's a little bit of a seawall near the docks, and along the seawall there's some trees casting a little bit of shade, and the seawall themselves are casting a little bit of shade near the water there, and casting in those little shade pockets. I don't know if you'll be able to tell from the video. I tried to get good footage of it, but casting in the last little bit of shade near the seawall landed me a couple of really good bites that I think a lot of people miss. Most people would just go and fish the dock and zoom to the next one. But if you go and you cast at any little piece of shade from objects protruding from the bank, you'd be surprised at the number of fish that you'll catch and how shallow they'll be. I even pulled a spotted bass out of just 2 foot of water, which was unreal. And even when you're not fishing the bank, when you're ledge fishing or doing some grass fishing or fishing brush piles offshore, consider the angle of the sun with your boat position, especially when there's not a lot of wind or not a lot of current being pulled to position the fish. If the water flow isn't positioning them, the sun will position them, and they will sit in the shade pocket. So if you go and adjust your boat position, your casting angle to where you're fishing in the shade on these parts of the cover and the structures, you'll get a lot more bites. It's no secret that fish hit better in the morning and the evening times, the lower light conditions. So if you go and fish the shaded portions of the cover or fish the shade lines, you're fishing, you know, in that same kind of situation. You can pretty much do it all day long. You know, in the middle of the day when the sun's directly overhead, you know, you can just go and find a mat or a dock and you can punch or pitch under there. And if you're fishing a ledge or grass line, you can just position your boat or choose your spots based on the time of the day that the angle of the sun will be hitting it right for you. Change these minor things. Sometimes little things can make a big difference in bass fishing. So focusing on your boat position on these shade lines, casting into the darkest portion of the cover and to the darkest portion on the structure that you're fishing will get you some more bites, and it'll get you bigger bites. Now, I was doing really well on that lightweight worm today in the shallow water, but you can use this concept with other lures. You know, if you're fishing along a bluff wall using a top water along the shade line, or you can work a frog or top water along the shade line of a deeper dock. You can adjust your lures. The most important concept is fishing the shaded portion of the structure of the cover that you're fishing. Please like and subscribe, and if you fish the shaded portion of the cover, focus on some shade lines in the summer, I guarantee you will load the boat.